I just can't wait for this one. Honestly, I think this is probably going to be one of my favorite matches to watch. Ott's obviously known for playing kind of oddball killers a little bit here and there, and Trickster had an incredible performance on the Spirit, right? They had that really nice Spirit play where he was able to get really good reads. So I'm curious to see if they bring that out right off the gate here, or if they choose to play one of their lower tier killers going into one another. I feel like a lot of this is going to be like, pride and a little bit of ego on the line. All of these people are pretty much streamers. So I'm curious to see what happens between these two teams. And it does look like we had a substitution where Mr. Snappy is going to be sitting out for another survivor, Brian S.
Yeah, Brian S. Was actually a former substitute for Instant Dodge and has entered the tournament with Shift W after playing with them in the Battle of the Platforms tournament earlier on in the month. So they've got some decent experience with Brian S. Have already played with him in tournament play, ready to go for this one here. Temple of Purgation is the map. Shift W Gamers won the coin toss and have opted to play Survivor first, wanting to hide their killer strat, I suppose, which means Ottstarver is going to be playing up first here on killer, and he has selected Hag.
All right. I respect it. I like that pick. So I'm assuming he's going to kind of do what Hags do, where you're going to basically treat her almost like a spider, right? You want to set your traps around the map. You want to get pressure all over. And then as the game starts to progress, you start to focus more on, I want my hook. I want my gens nearby, whether you can get 3 gens, whether you can get 4 gens, and then just putting your traps in these very odd spots to catch people off guard and just boom, immediately smack them, get some nice clean downs. The one thing that's always very scary about playing a Hag is that early game. She takes a little bit to get going. She takes a little bit to get her traps. If the survivors are aware, they can constantly run and trigger her traps, which can be insanely frustrating as a Hag player to just have your traps be constantly triggered. You're like, that was a good one. Why you got to go destroy it? I wanted that for later. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. But Hag is an incredible killer, and I think if he can get his footing early on, he will be a force to reckon with later.
Yeah, that's, we saw last week, Shift W Gamers took on Azure on the Torment Creek, and they knew that Rusalka, the killer player for Azure, is a well-known Hag main. And so they prepared accordingly. They brought Urban Evasion so that, with borrowed times on their Urban Evasion, so that the survivor could swiftly move across the map for a borrowed time rescue, if the Hag was somehow to be able to get back to the hook in time. Well prepared for a Hag. I personally would have expected Otts to bring Hag in his first matchup. Pyramid Head, for me, is the killer that I've seen him shine on so often when it comes to these top tier matches. So I'm really curious to see how he performs here, and potentially a spanner in the works for Shift W, who I suspect if they're thinking on the same level as me, they're expecting to go up against Pyramid Head here.
Yeah, that's what I would assume 100%. If I was Shift W Gamers, you saw Ott's incredible performance in the top 16. He picked Pyramid Head. It almost seems like it would be a no-brainer that he's going to pick Pyramid Head into this. Maybe possibly doing that to confuse them a little bit. Both of these teams doing a lot of homework on everything. They've been scrimming like crazy. Actually, like pretty much all the teams have been scrimming like crazy. I think actually last night we were having some tournament prep till pretty late at night, and these teams are still scrimming. It's like, go to bed, guys. You need to wake up in the morning. You need to be, ready to go. But that just shows how dedicated they are to showcasing how good they are at this game.
I mean, you don't come into the largest Dead by Daylight tournament ever to be put on Hexy with $10,000 up to grabs for the first place team, $15,000 total in the prize pool, crowdfunded as well here. Without putting all the prep in, and here it is. The ball has dropped. Ottstarver is on the map with the Hag, bringing Franklin's demise with Hex, No One Escapes Death, Sloppy Butcher, and Corrupt Intervention. A very similar build that we saw out of Rusalka from Azure, and I have to say, the Franklin's demise was so underwhelming. This is going to be a hard one for them. I'm really curious to see exactly how this one does play out. Already, Aaron is on a generator with Super Alf, and We do actually see another generator being worked on. This is a very different playstyle from the Shift W gamers. Normally, they will sit on a generator for the entirety of the Corrupt Intervention stage, but they have actually decided to just sit on generators immediately and pump them out, knowing that generators reward so many points. And if it is a hag, then you don't want to give her time to set up. So a great little adaptation in play coming through from Shift W. Scratch marks have been discovered. I believe this is the Claudette, who I would believe is Malika, if I remember correctly, coming through on her Survivor. We'll find out in just a second. First generator already done. Oh, this is not Malika. This is Tap. There she is. Malika takes a hit from behind the generator. There's the trap, and that will be an instant down coming through onto the team captain of Shift W gamers.
So this is where the hag starts to snowball, right? Once she gets her first down, she's going to be looking to get a hook here and kind of just trap it up, make it incredibly difficult to save on. Not quite the best hook, but it looks like he's going to get some nice sneaky traps around there. But he's not going to be able to really guard generators with this. So I'd be curious if he just tries to kind of post up, get some traps down, and then just leaves this and lets it go to try to keep more aggression, to try to get a better trap, to try to get a better spider web, or...
I've just looked at Corrupt Interventions expired, and he has 2 generators down the bottom, around the top of the shrine, maybe 3 generators actually on either sides of the shrine, building, the temple building, and 1 in the basement. So Oddstava has actually got a hook here in what would be the center of his 3-gen remainder. And that's probably why he opted not to bring any gen regression, because this was the plan coming into temple: trap up the temple, get someone down near the temple, put them in the basement of the temple, and then just hope that you can snowball from that space on.
It is a very difficult spot to save from. It's just harder to kind of watch your generators from this spot. So it's kind of a trade-off, right? More difficult for survivors to get this save, but also more difficult for him to guard the gens. So if they want to keep pushing the gens the way they have been, 2 generators already down, they can almost do this somewhat freely, right?
Malika has camaraderie. So in this point onwards, I think if you're Shift W gamers, you activate it. It's just been activated. That's 34 seconds going to be added to your hook time, and now you just try to push out the next 2 generators.
And it looks like he's going to be in a chase with Brian S. That is going to be the substitute on Shift W gamers. Already going to get smacked there. Franklin's going to make him drop his items. How do you feel about the Franklins, by the way? Because survivors are limited just to yellow items and add-ons. So I don't know if I like the Franklin's pick. Maybe possibly planning to go with it to try to just get rid of the flashlight, get rid of the med kit. But it seems like you wouldn't get a ton of use out of it. I almost feel like you get a little more value off of a different perk. But Malika's still on the hook there. Camaraderie coming in very clutch. Otz is probably like, can you just die already?
The problem is that if you are playing with the camaraderie, you need your teammates to be working generators during this time. And the only person who can safely go down into the temple is this Super Aranova, full health. The rest of them are injured. Brian Essen and Alf, they can't, and they're grouped up running around trying to find a generator to work on so that they can actually make this camaraderie play worth its time. Aaron's actually jumped down into the basement. There's no way he gets the save. He goes down in the bottom of the temple. Now, the one thing to be said about this is that Oddstava cannot pick him up. There is just no hooks available in this area that he can reach from that area of the map. So he probably has to slug him out and try and now find Super Alf and Brian S and just hope that Aaron is not got Unbreakable. And I think I peeked a little look, Aaron didn't have Unbreakable.
No, he does not. So yeah, what he really needs to do is just get traps on his generators there and really make it very difficult, because they still have Noed in his back pocket, and I can almost guarantee you, with how the match has been playing out and how fast the match has been going, there is still a few totems on the map, and he is going to get a quick down on Brian. And that's what I kind of was saying before, the spider web. Once you're in Otz's spider web, it's incredibly difficult to get out of it. This will be the hook, and it's a very smart play with the slug there, knowing full well that there wasn't going to be any hooks in the basement. And it looks like Shift W Gamers is struggling to deal with the hag pressure. Very, very scared, obviously concerned that they're going to trigger a trap there. And I'm trying to get some vision, if I can, on the killer there, to just be able to see where these traps are kind of placed, because he's been putting them all over.
They are going to be able to get Brian S off the hook safely. Or a time was activated, which Brian S Yeah. It was there's 3 traps remaining. He has 7 traps down.
Three traps remaining. Yeah, 7 traps up, and you can see them all around that temple there, which makes it incredibly scary to go through that, especially with none of them running any real healing perks, and they haven't really had the opportunity to cross heal too much, which I think would be very, very good. But Otz already knows. He's on. He's reading your mind before you already know what you're doing, and that's why he brought in the Sloppy Butcher, which will reduce the healing speed on the survivors, making it even more difficult.
There's a trap. There's a trap. Is there not? Oh, I thought there was a trap in this jungle gym. That he did just place one down.
Yeah, he did place one, but it's off on the window there.
So 3 generators left in the trial. 1 more to be completed by the Shift W gamers. Ottstarver has secured 4 points to the 8 of Shift W gamers. And for the survivors, if they want to get any more points in this trial, Hexy, they need to complete a generator for 2 and then get escapes. It's only points available now for hooking and killing for Ottstarver.
Yeah, so Odds, I think, is feeling a bit confident there. The team seems to be a little bit in panic mode, trying to regroup themselves. And you saw them trying to heal, right? They were trying to cross heal there because she always has to hit you twice, unless she's powered up with like Noed or something like that. She always has to hit you twice.
There's 2 survivors here. I saw blood on the floor. So I believe Aaron's also in this area. There he is.
Incredible.
Not the way he wanted to.
Anytime you're moving around.
Still available? No, it's expired.
Oh.
Man, that must be just on the edge.
I wasn't quite sure. I believe Aaron did not get the save either, so he will not have Deliverance available, but he's already been on the hook, so not that that matters. So not gaining any value off the Deliverance there. This is
generator.
Looking...
It should get done. Ottstarver has gone down to the basement. There's no way that he gets back up to the generator up top that Alf is working on near the hook. Alf has adrenaline. Oh, does Brian have adrenaline? Because this could be an adrenaline save for Brian if he's able to loop him for just a little bit of seconds here. It's going to be a close one. I don't think he's going to be able to get it down. There he goes onto the floor. And then now going to be looking to try and prevent the unhook happening. But I assume that Alf is just going to pop the generator. And he did have adrenaline. Up on the floor he goes. Oh, but
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Otz is already in your mind. He's already in your mind. He's reading you. He lets you have the generator so he can proc his Noed and instantly down Super Alf. That's really unfortunate because he's the uninjured one, so he wasn't even going to be moaning. And it looks like he is going to go for the hook there. I wonder if that was a bit intentional. Just knowing that they're going to slam the gen. Let's go ahead and confirm this kill. We got this. Boom, bop, bam. Noed's going to proc. Now Hag is incredibly scary, and like I said, they didn't get all the totems earlier in that match, so she is going to be moving fast now with the movement speed increase on Noed, and she one-shots. And it looks like he found Brian.
Spotted. Yeah, that's not good news, Bear, and there's a trap in here. Brian cannot get away from Ottstarver on the temple, and that will be the 4K coming through for the gentleman here.
Bro, I'm telling you, he's in your mind. Get out of my mind, Otz. Get out of it. He is going to go ahead and wait that out just so he can confirm the kill. He's already struggle phase, but he might have lost track of that during all the chaos there. But an incredible performance on Otz, showing that, hey, yo, I can play Pyramid Head. I can also play Hag.
That is,
and it ended up working out for him. That first hook in the basement, I was a little bit concerned on, but it just seemed like Shift W didn't know how to deal with it. It's an awkward hook to save from, but like I said, it's also an awkward hook to watch generators.
It's one of those hooks that would have been okay to deal with, I think, for Shift W if once that camaraderie was procced, the generator started flying. And the team just focused on getting the generators done over anything else. But unfortunately, they were not able to make that happen. Ottstarver is able to secure 10 points for his team, equaling up the 10 points that the Shift W gamers secured by completing all 5 generators here. That is a very close scoreline coming through for our first game of this series.
It's close. This is still anyone's game. It has to be a little bit discouraging going in first hook, dying out, not being able to really recover there, because it did seem like at the start of that they had a very dominant performance. Hag again struggling with the early games, so they did have a really strong performance at the beginning there, but it seemed like it just kind of unraveled in front of them. Now it's not a complete wash, because if they bring out their killer and they can have a dominant performance, I mean, this is still anyone's game. Like this is very, very close. But if Gentlemen can go ahead and get all the generators done, get one out, somewhat limit them on the hooks there and on the kills, they should have a solid chance of stealing this entire thing. Yeah. And I just want to take a second and thank everyone for allowing me and my team and everyone as a part of this to do a best of the best tournament. This is a crowd-funded tournament, so all the money from one of my streams went towards this tournament. We raised over $15,000. I just really want to do you guys justice and show that, you know, a lot of people view this game as like a party game, but it could still be very entertaining to watch and very exciting to watch in a competitive manner, and just showcase some of the better players in the game, because some of these people aren't necessarily as known, or they, if they are known, it's a more underground scene. So I just want to say thank you again to everyone watching and to everyone playing in this, and to you, Dowsy, and to all the moderators. You guys have been phenomenal, and I hope I can do you justice. I hope I'm not stuttering over my words too much. I'm actually battling with vertigo and kind of being a bit dizzy, so I'm sorry. I apologize if I'm a little bit off. I'm doing my best. Show must go on, and that's why we're jumping into this game right now. Shift W Gamers as the killer, going to be Nurse versus the Gentleman.
Look at that. Very similar build
Trickster
coming
Shadow
through
already on.
Yeah, Trickster Shadow's already found ASAP. Quickly, and he is going to be looking for this one. First hit comes through, and it's going to be ASAP taking the hit. Very similar build to Agony's finger guns. Oh, that was an excellent blink. A very difficult blink as well, because if he overcocked it, he would have gone straight down into the basement of the temple. But no, Trickster's a pro and finds the first down.
Yeah. Super nice blink there. That's always a and he's gonna get the basement. That's a nice try on the firecracker there. If he did actually land it, that would have been a drop. And this is about as good as you can ask for. Start of the match, 5 generators up, and already have someone down in the basement where she can go up.
The basement of the temple, like the literal basement of this map. That is the lowest it can go.
Yeah. So it's going to be really difficult to get them out of there. But more than likely, he'll kind of, I would assume he's going to move around and kind of like probably get that save and let that save go. Going to gain value off the Pop Goes the Weasel, regressing that generator 25%. Looks like multiple people running camaraderie. It's so funny to see that. Comp Dead by Daylight is completely different than normal pub Dead by Daylight. You're noticing no one bringing out oh, nice hit there. That was a really, really nice blink. Hayden, unfortunately, not able to break LOS too much there. But you notice the builds vary a lot differently, where they're not bringing in barbecue and chili. And these sort of tracking perks, they're mostly going for just dominance or gen slowdowns. And there comes the D-strike out from ASAP, unfortunately going down as he got out of the basement, but is going to gain huge value off the D-strike. And I'm curious to see if Trickster is going to be following this. I would guess that he is going to continue the aggression here, knowing that the D-strike's out, knowing that he can continue the aggression onto ASAP and get him out of the match. ASAP.
We'll have to see exactly how the Claudette can loop. Rock loop here, pallet not spawning, and bit of vision lost temporarily, but Trickster regains it, looking for the blink on top. He's going to go for a second, but gets stuck on the hook there. The generators are now starting to find value here. This matchup started 10-10, so every point earned is going to be what separates these two teams in this series, and the down does come through onto ASAP for a second hook onto the Claudette.
This is rough. No generators still done. And as we saw when Shift W's gamer started with this, it was just boom, boom, boom gens, like, well, 2 gens right off the rip. And in this one, much different pacing, not really getting too much gens. And Trickster Shadow doing what he does best on the Nurse, unfortunately blinks down there, but is gaining maximum value on these Pop Goes the Weasels, which sometimes can be difficult to maintain.
He is literally everywhere. He contests the generator that has 2 survivors working in it, with Pop Goes the Weasel, and then immediately finds the Feng here to push her off her own generator to prevent it from being completed immediately as well, denying 4 points with just 1 set of players. And now, if he can locate ASAP and Blink onto him for the tunnel. Rancor reveals the locations of all the survivors, and I suspect that the one the furthest away will be the Claudette. There's the update onto a location, and yes, it is. ASAP has been located.
Oh no, this is about as bad as it could be. If he does get the down, that will be another hook there, and it looks like, oh my god, Trickster actually coming out with a dominant Nurse. His blinks have been so, like, just on par. Incredible blinks. Like, sometimes it can be really difficult to time some of those blinks, and he's been on and on, almost reading the minds of where they're going to go. And that's kind of what you need to do when you lose vision of the survivors in the chase. And that's going to be a full total 4 points for ASAP out of the match. First, no one else, though, on the hooks. This is still anyone's match, but you have to be feeling good as Shift W gamers in this situation. Already getting a kill this early on. Now a 3v1, going to make it much more difficult when the Nurse gets pressures on the hook. I'm really feeling a little bit nervous for the gentleman here.
I don't really know how to call this one, Hexy. He has come back and found, I believe it would be Jack. No, Jack healed himself, so this must be Hayden coming off the generator. And the Feng will be looking to try and gain some distance and break line of sight on this log loop. Not an easy task, then the hit will come through. But like you say, none of the other survivors have been hooked at this stage. And if all three of the gentlemen are working separate gens, then any chase could realistically pop 2 generators. And if that happens, then it's just the final gen that the team has to knock out to be able to put themselves in a position that they secure the full 10 points on generators like the Shift W gamers did. And you can see on your camera there, Jack goes back and completes the generator, and there's Chopper. So 2 generators done for 1 chase, 1 hook. And the gentlemen soar forward to 18.
And the nice thing is the gentlemen still have 2 camaraderies available. So if they want to take advantage of leaving Hayden on the hook a little bit here, they can gain the value off the camaraderie while they finish out these gens. I mean, this is neck and neck, ladies and gentlemen. This could go any which way.
You're going to find one survivor, the one that's injured.
Jack. Oh, no. Smart decision on Shift W, or sorry, gentleman's spot by sending Chopper for the save, probably thinking he was going to contest the hook, but he didn't contest the hook at all.
Jack doesn't have dead hard, so it is really just how you utilize line of sight blockage here to extend the chase that's going to come down to it. 2 blinks and a whiff.
Very nice.
That could be game-changing right there for Shift W as the survivors are grouping up on a generator. Actually, 1 healing, 1 doing the gen. They're not grouping too hard. Nova Blink comes through from Shift W's. Trickster Shadow. The pallet goes down just to create distance between. This Blink looks like it's going to line up. Can he get the second? There it is. On to Jack. Another point will come through, but that generator in the basement of the building is already over 50%.
Crazy amount of value that Jack just gave his team there by being able to juke that long. And that's what I was kind of saying before with Nurse. Every time she's messing up the blinks, that's just timed where the survivors reign free. Does have a nice blink down below. Gets a smack onto Hayden as we see Chopper going for the save again here. And it doesn't look like he's contesting the hook. He still has the pop goes the weasel. I wonder if he heard the generator downstairs and is going to blink back down there to gain the pop goes the weasel. That's what it's looking like. Actually, spots. Oh! I actually thought that was going to hit 100% there, Dowsy.
Dead hard, getting some value here. Pop goes the weasel come out because he knows that she has to basically play at the back of this building. And look, Chopper hiding behind a pallet. He's going to try and sneak the generator whilst Hayden plays around the back of the building here. Gets the hit down. No. But can he get... He's going to pick up, but I do believe that Chopper will finish the generator. Oh, Chopper's leaving. They're actually going to group up. Jack's on the generator that they were previously on. I believe yeah,
if he full commits to it, he should make it. But yeah, it's looking like he's going to go with Pop Goes Weasel. So that generator should be finished. I didn't quite catch if the survivors were running the adrenaline or not. It does look like they're going to full commit to this and try to bang out the gen. There's going to be the Rancor and the Noed on a Nurse. Oh man. Buckle up. Here we go. Does get a spot onto Chopper. If Chopper goes on the hook here, it would actually be his first hook of the night. Looks like he's going for a save as they send Jack to go hit the door there.
Yeah, Hayden's had camaraderie activated, so he won't die on this hook. Chopper is going to be able to go down again, but that just potentially opens up more hook points for Shift
for sure.
W. Because
one thing I
if
noticed
all three of
is,
these survivors died, 3 points, right?
Yeah. And one thing I noticed, I didn't mean to cut you off there, is that the Rancor is pretty much off the table because the Obsession's already down.
Yeah, that's true. So no Instamori value. He's trying to find Chopper down. Located the Kate. I believe Jack will be rescued by Hayden right next to the exit gate. So Shift W have to make these downs quick if they're going to do it. And there it comes, the attempt to hit that comes through. And he heard the gate being procced open as well. That's going to be him instantly snapping over to the location of Hayden, who's trying to break distance, get past the dead hard. It is going to fail. He has found the down onto Hayden, who doesn't have Decisive Strike, but does have Unbreakable. He's going to go back, pick up the Kate, and then we'll have to see if Hayden can make a last hurrah play for the gentleman.
Oh, 100% they're getting Unbreakable here. Now, obviously not going to be able to save Jack, so I'm curious how this is going to go out. This is a nail-biter match. Oh, man. Nail-biter match. But it is going to tie it up. So basically, he might not be aware, but if he just confirms this kill, they win this, right? Like it. But if they can get them out.
Deliverance
Oh,
on Chopper
Deliverance
comes through. Chopper's right next to an exit gate as well.
Oh.
Hayden has made his way across the map to another exit gate and is going to start the open, gets chopped on the floor. If Hayden gets hooked here, this is going to be our first draw of the tournament, I think, Hexy. 2 points for an escape will put the gentleman up to 22 points, and Shift W will get another 2 points for the hook and kill onto Hayden. 22 to 22. No way! These teams have drawn it on the Temple of Purgation.
Holy moly. Well, we said it was a nail biter, right, Dowsy? Oh my God. That could have went any which way. It was back and forth, action-packed all the way. You love to see it. Both these teams coming out swinging. Unfortunately, they both knocked each other out. Oh, man. Let's kind of see what happened with the teams here. I'm curious as far as like what was it the same exact scoring on hooks and everything? Okay, so it does look like Shift W Gamers had a bit more hook, but Gentlemen actually had more hooks and kills.
Yeah, no,
like
that's exactly how it went down. Yeah, the extra 3 points that you were gained from hooking supplemented it there, coming through. Wow, that is
and then the 2
that is
off the
insane.
escape.
Yeah. And so I'm sure the people at home, Hexy, want to know exactly what happens in a tie scenario. So first and foremost, I assume we will verify the scores and make sure that the tie does stand. But in this circumstance, the match will be repeated on the Temple of Purgation. The Shift W gamers will play killer first into the survivors of the Gentlemen, and both teams will have to submit a new killer pick. They cannot pick the same killer. This killer pick will not go against them in the lockouts. It is a free-for-all pick, so that means that for the Shift W gamers, they can bring anything they want other than Nurse, and for the Gentlemen, they can bring anything they want other than Hag. And so this is where things get really curious here.
Somewhat mitigate that, like, right, she'll be a little bit more effective in close chases but won't be as good in long chases, so probably just a comfort pick. Like, I feel really good, I'm not going to lock that out for later picks. I want to pick a killer that I can just kind of snowball this match and just really have a dominant performance, which kind of goes to show you that Shift W Gamers was saving that spirit pick for later on, going with the Nurse pick. Still a strong killer, but maybe something they wanted to save for a team later on down the road. So we'll have to see what the Gentlemen have up their sleeve as far as what Otts is going to be bringing to the table. I don't know. Would you say Nerves would be getting to you? I feel like Nerves would be getting to me even worse now with how like nail biting that was, because that just goes to show you how much these teams are practicing when it's just back and forth, anyone's game. Literally one little mistake could have swung the match for either team. And it looked like there was a few different situations where it's like, and then like it just somehow ended in a tie there. And good on Chopper knowing that I'm just going to leave the match, bring in the points, and hope for a tie, because they might not be keeping track of the points as well as we are while they're in the matches there, or they could possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to do. Perhaps the survivors for the team tallying it up for their killer so that they know exactly where they're at. Here we are into game number 3 of this series versus Shift W Gamers and the Gentlemen. A tiebreaker to separate these two teams and determine which one will go into the losers bracket, which one will progress. The first hit has come through. Hayden has been found.
Trickster Shadow just finding them so early on in these matches is so good, because a lot of these teams at the beginning like to stealth out with left intervention. Actually gets the smack on the pallet there, and I think it sent him to the other side. He got sent to another dimension. Doesn't care though. He's gonna get the down on Hayden, and that's gonna be first hook right off the gate. ASAP is like, yo, don't make me look bad, bro. Yeah, I know you got me out of this match. So ASAP, we ain't doing that again. We're gonna win this one ASAP.
Okay, so there's a small little bug there where you can't hook a survivor immediately sometimes, and so you have to drop the survivor and pick them up. Trickster Shadow doesn't let it get to him, and he's going to be able to get a very quick first gen there, Hexy. In the first game between these two teams, it took the Gentlemen 3 minutes 24 seconds to complete their first generator. This time they're not messing around.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're coming out swinging. They're going to pick their power picks for this match and get themselves into the winners round 2. This is game time. Both these teams have a lot to prove. Otz is probably one of the favorite killers, so he's probably calculating his plans, getting ready to read their minds. And it does look like Hayden's going to be in another chase already right off the gate. Will he go ahead and slug that? Does have the Unbreakable available. It does pick it up, so it seems like most of these killers just going for the D-strike to the face, get it out of the match ASAP. That could be quite devastating if it was a D-strike on the survivor, allowing them to get quite a bit more pressure there. But luckily for Trickster Shadow, Hayden is not the D-strike user.
Looks like generator started in the shack by Chopper, who will be setting up for a rescue. Jack gets pushed off the generator in the temple building, and ASAP on the other side of the map working his 2-2 so far in the reset, the tiebreaker of this series. And the team's definitely feeling the pressure. Hayden has camaraderie and has had it activated already. And you can see all 3 survivors are separated, working generators. Their ideal scenario here is that they managed to complete 2 or 3 generators during the camaraderie second hook on the hooked Hayden, allowing him to stay on the hook for plenty of time. There's one of those 2 or 3 generators completed by ASAP on the other side of the map.
Does engage in the chase with Chopper, but it looks like he breaks off, kind of reading that they're probably going to be going for a save somewhat soon. Didn't quite catch if that was eject that finished the generator there and cut over while they're still sitting. It looks like he was the one on the generator, actually.
Chopper's going to come in for the rescue. Is he there? He got the hit. Is it enough? Oh. No, it's not. That's going to be the down onto... Oh, it's a borrowed time block onto Hayden. Well, I mean, now you just chase her down. She's taking the borrowed time hit for a teammate. You chase her down, you get the kill, you try and get her out of this game as quickly as possible. And the dead hard will get it through the pallet, and the stun will come through. Hayden's going to try and find as much distance as possible for his team. I believe a face walk is set up. I can hear it whooshing. Can he locate the Fang? Listening, swinging. Down goes Hayden for the first kill of the game. I believe ASAP has already found themselves on a generator halfway across the map. Chopper will be back towards the shack, and Jack will have made their way back down towards a new generator. So 3 generators being contested, but Pop the Weasel available to try and contest.
Yeah, this is a little bit scary. It's almost like a repeat of the same exact match. One person basically getting drilled out of the match, unable to kind of get away from the hook and reset themselves. Unfortunately, not the D-strike users either. They are doing very well with pushing the gens. It's just not quite coming together, I think, how the Gentlemen would like, where they're struggling a little bit there to continue the pressure.
Nice.
Kind of wish they would have gained a little more value on the camaraderie rather than cut it over immediately. I think they could have got another generator. Yeah,
certainly could have. If Chopper just sat on it and Jack potentially finished their generator before coming for a rescue attempt, there was definite possibilities. Trickster with Pop Goes the Weasel is going to try and look locate Jack's generator. In fact, no, switches on to ASAP. Chopper, again, with the Deliverance, is going to get themselves off the hook and head right back towards the shack to try and finish the last generator of this trial. Decisive Strike active and ready to go. The phase walk is coming. The vault through the window. Well read by Chopper.
Good read.
And he's going to give us some
read on
distance.
Chopper. Yeah.
All right, we are going to
He's gonna
experience
come
a
in.
interesting scenario here, Hexy. Decisive Strike is bugged on certain killers. It's essentially wiggling off the killer's shoulder is bugged. So that's going to be a relatively instant wiggle off. But I believe ASAP set up for a flashlight blind to try and give extra distance to Chopper, and a dead hard will get Chopper away as well. So this Decisive Strike bug hasn't quite hurt them just yet, but Chopper does go down eventually. That was a
it
nice,
looks like they got
nice little play.
Yeah, it was a good play. Unfortunately, as you said, D-Strike currently bugged on multiple killers in the game rather than being a 5-second stun. I believe it's a 2-second stun. Unfortunately, we just roll with the punches and try to showcase the game the best we can. It does look like they will finish this generator out. I don't think they'll be able to get down there in time, but there will be a
The whiff
Didn't
on
quite
the
see
sprint
what
burst and the
happened.
adrenaline.
Oh,
Both
the
with
sprint burst
adrenaline and sprint
adrenaline.
burst to get away. Trickster Shadow now has to try and locate the survivor. Scratch marks ahead of them. The wet
Oh.
footsteps finds Jack. That's going to be the down onto him,
This
and I
man has
suspect
some
that you just
gaming
go.
headphones, dude. He's able to hear him splashing around in the swamp there. Well, I guess it's not the swamp, but the way it's raining and stuff like that, the mud, you can usually hear the survivors pretty well in that sort of environment. Does look like he's going to sit here and kind of contest the hook, confirm that hook, while slugging out Jack on the ground there. I don't believe Jack has Unbreakable. Yeah, he does not. He has the Borrowed Time, Strike, a Deliverance, and
And
has
he
the
hasn't
Deliverance
activated it either. Yeah. So no deliverance to bite them in the butt. We'll have to see if ASAP is now able to find and execute. The first man gone in game one. Now the last man standing upright in this matchup. And oh, that looks like a beeline towards an execute from Trickster Shadow, trying to sniff out the Claudette. Is there any scratch marks?
Might have saw
Being
scratch
left by the
marks.
Claudette. He seems to have. He's found her right in the corner, and the down will
There
come
it
through.
is.
That is going to be the kills coming through. Now, this is the scenario. Jack can attempt to escape off the hook here if they want to. A 4% chance will be available as well to ASAP. Jack takes the attempt, is unsuccessful. It will be now ASAP now attempting with a sprint burst in hand. Can you make it to a hatch off this, do you think, Hexy?
He might just sit it, honestly. Just wait. Because if he wiggles off, he's going to give the killer another point and another point for death. So essentially could be feeding him an extra point. And in a nail biter situation like we had last time, every point is going to matter. So if I was ASAP, I would just sit on the hook, deny the 1 point, and not even risk it. Because it's super doubtful in this situation with Noed proc, giving him the movement speed, that you're going to get away from a Spirit. No way. You're injured. You're going to be moaning like crazy. Trickster, obviously, with the best gaming headphones around, able to hear all the footsteps. I don't see you getting away from Trickster. He's too good for it. So he'll probably just wait this out and deny a point. And I'm assuming that's probably why Trickster Shadow tossed him on the hook early, is just because he was hoping that he would wiggle and possibly earn his team another point. Incredible performance, though, by Shift W Gamers. Trickster Shadow coming in, showcasing his spirit. We got to see that in the top 16 as well. Pretty brutal. I think really where this game kind of went wrong was right out the rip. At the very, very beginning of the match, he was on someone, right? Just immediately on someone. Is going to kick that close, earn a little bit of extra blood points. Now, keep in mind, because this is a tie, whatever killer earns the most blood points between both matches, if it ties again, will be dubbed the winner. Hopefully we don't end up seeing that, because we don't really want to go to blood points, as it's not as exciting as just seeing a team straight up win. But this is still a very, very close match. And Shift W Gamers can kind of deny the gentleman, deny odds pressure early on, can get the gens how they did early. They could definitely win this. And if odds can have a dominant performance like he did on the Hag, we could see the gentleman sweep this as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a 1 point difference between these two teams. But in the previous result, it was a 10 versus 10 in game one. So Trickster has come through in this tiebreaker match and gotten that 1 point lead over the previous result that Otz was able to put out in their game one previously. This is neck and neck, and like you mentioned, if if these two teams can't sell it here in the trial and separate themselves, then it does come down to blood points. It's kind of an arbitrary number, Hexy, but we just needed something to separate the teams after 2 matches. We can't sit here going back and forth between these two excellent teams all day. I mean, as much as everyone would love us to, we just can't.
Yeah, and we still have many more games to go. I mean, it's going to be roughly 7-8 hours of games today. I don't quite know exactly how long we've been going, but we still have winners round 2, multiple teams to go through. We still have all of losers round 1 to go through, and then losers round 2 to go through. So many, many, many more games to come. Make sure you grab a pizza, whatever you want, get yourself comfy on the couch, ready to relax and have some fun rooting for your favorite team. Let's get it in the chat for Shift W Gamers or the gentlemen. I want to see your guys' favorite killers. Root for your team. You can actually root for the killers or the survivors in the matches by typing in full caps killers, which will give you a little cheering killer emote, or survivors, which will give you a little cheering survivor emote. You can root for your favorite teams along the way. I don't even know who I'm rooting for. Honestly, I want them both to win. I want them both to go through. These are some of my favorite teams, and they're going versus it right off the at the start here. So I'm excited. We definitely are in for a treat. A lot of these matches very, very close. I just can't wait to see what's brought to the table. I want to know what
we are going to be getting in. You know what? We have an entire team behind us, Hexy, of volunteers, staff members, who are, making everything work behind the scenes so that we can sit here and just yell at all the exciting plays. I was too excited. I went and checked to see what Otz has picked personally, and it's Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head has come through for Ottstarver as we expected. He's going to be looking to try and make it work on the Temple. Temple doesn't have as many slopes as other maps. It is really just the actual temple building that has the slopes. If you don't know, the Punishment of the Damned, it cannot go up slopes, but it can go down them. So it just means that a team that understands that can play around the temple building, going up ramps to try and avoid ranged attacks if necessary. But like you mentioned earlier for the Nurse, and I'm sure this comes into effect on Pyramid Head as well, this map has so much visibility over the maze tiles. All of them are very low down. Pyramid Head is a tall killer. Give him all of the visibility necessary to try and make those attacks over the loops, and I suspect that will really help Ottstarver's chances in finding downs in chases.
Yeah, for sure. He won't even really have to super guess on a lot of those walls. And it makes me curious, is Otz feel like his strongest killer is Pyramid Head, or is he still keeping something up his sleeve, I guess you could say? I do think Pyramid Head is a very strong pick, but I don't know. I don't know how comfortable I would feel picking a Pyramid Head into Shift W Gamers. They've been scrimming like crazy, but kind of as you said, I think you're right as far as Otz thinkings go. When he's going to be locking in the killer, having the visibility over those loops just gives Pyramid Head so much of an advantage, where he's able to just get really solid flicks. So I suspect that's what's going to come out, and more than likely he's probably going to be trying to snowball with the cages as well as final execution. Something to keep in mind for people just tuning in: cages as well as final executions reward full points. So it is something to keep in mind, as well as if you're a little bit more newer to the game, cages fully deny saving perks. So like borrowed time, completely countered. A D-strike, completely countered. They can gain no advantage using those perks, which is why Pyramid Head is kind of a brutal pick. It's just sometimes he struggles a little bit and he's not landing his flicks. He kind of becomes an M1 killer, which is why I'm a little bit nervous. But this is why Otz is a professional and I'm a caster, and that's why we're going to jump right into this match. Otz going to be showcasing his skill for the gentleman. Match number 2 first. Match ending in a tie. And it looks like they are going to be kind of doing stealth gameplay here. I'm assuming he's running the Corrupt, which he is.
Seems that a spectator cam does have a full head blocking it. The Pyramid Head is just full of himself and won't allow us to see that. So we will
really?
try and deal around that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's fully out of our control. That is Dead by Daylight spectation for you. If you've never gone into a Kill Your Friends and spectated a friend, that's what it looks like. So we will get to see exactly what Shift W are doing. Brian, sitting in a locker, has located one of the Hex totems, and we can see here that Otz has actually brought 3 hexes. One won't be activated until the generators are completed. Hex Ruin is going to regress the generators. Hex Retribution is going to show the survivors' auras for 10 seconds when a Hex perk is cleansed, and also make the survivor cleansing the totem oblivious for, I think, 40 seconds it is. And then once the trial has concluded and the generators have been powered, Hex No One Escapes Death will activate, giving Ottstarver an instant down on his basic attacks.
Yeah, I think really where we're seeing the difference between these two teams is the early game, right? Trickster came in immediately on people, boom, boom, boom. And that's just how much, right? He's almost 2 minutes in, hasn't been able to discover, and they actually pop a generator before any pressure. He hasn't even engaged in a chase. This is exactly what you want to look for as Shift W gamers, basically knocking it down to 4 gens, and none of them have been discovered here. But it does look like Otz is getting close to Malika.
Yeah, Malika.
And well spotted there.
Yeah, and she had Sprint Burst as well. Wasn't able to get the run off before the punishment of the dam reached her. So a first hit comes through, but a generator's already been completed before that first hit has happened. Malika now going to have to play around the shack. Sees the Pyramid Head coming from range. Woohoo! Just dodging out the edge of it. A Hex Tome did get cleansed. That was the Hex Retribution being cleansed there, Hexy, showing the auras of all 4 survivors around the map, meaning Hex Ruin still needs to be found by these survivors. Malika playing around line of sight blockers, going for a dodge around the trees here. And it looks like Ottstarver wants to fake her out into leaving the loop and has successfully zoned her off the pallet. A blind? Is it enough? Ooh, it doesn't find it, and Otz gets the basic attack as well.
Looks like that's going to be a cage. The smart thing, one thing to keep in mind with the torments is when you go ahead and send them to the cage, if you yourself have a torment, you can actually cleanse the torment off both of the people. But because none of them have it, he can just send them freely and doesn't have to worry about losing torment pressure, really. Although he could have hooked it and kept the torment pressure on Malika and basically had the countered out a D-Strike if she had it. Obviously not aware if she has D-Strike or anything like that.
She does not. Also, not to mention, like you said earlier, all of the perks that you can normally utilize on a hook, such as Camaraderie, cannot be used when you cage. So Otz is going to send it to a cage, and now Malika's perk, Camaraderie, is made completely useless. Right next to Brian S, who is going to complete the gen and then, I assume, rescue Malika, but Ottstarver is just going to be playing around the map and basically beelining, I would assume, to try and finish off the job. No, he's gone downstairs, but the generator has been completed by Super Alf. Oh.
Yeah, that was an interesting bug. This is a significant difference, right? I feel like Shift W a lot more aggressive on the gens and just being a lot more rapid at it. Otz got information when they saved from the cage as to where they were, but it doesn't look like he chose to follow up on it. And she does have the first aid kit, so we'll be able to full heal, and that's multiple gens getting popped out. He's really on the back foot here. Gonna kind of have to hope that the NOED comes in clutch for him, because I don't really see how you get out of this situation with one generator. He doesn't really have a 3-gen stack to speak for. This is where Pyramid Head kind of excels, though, a little bit, right? He has full vision over the wall and can kind of take advantage of that. And one of the things that Otz does pretty well is he'll go ahead and drag this, and he'll kind of bait it, right? You think he's going to fling it, but he doesn't, and he'll come out, cancel it, and then get the smack.
Yeah, that's exactly right. One thing to note, though, Hexy, the points here are going to come down to the wire, because 11 points was won by Trickster Shadow. 4 killing the survivors, right? And then another 7 for hook states. So far, Otz has only received 3 hooks. So even if all 4 survivors go down with this NOED activating, I would wager that the Shift W have done enough. As long as they don't go out and rescue people unnecessary, and if they just get one escape right now, then they should have won this match.
Yeah, they might not be aware of this, quite yet, but okay, they already popped the door. I hope they just go ahead and leave. It does look like they actually got the save too. And Brian going to go down, and it does look like they're just going to leave. So they seem to be pretty aware. A little bit ballsy, though. It looks like he possibly is going to try for the save, and I don't know if I agree with this. You got to feel pretty good, right? Knowing that, okay, Trickster had a really dominant performance. We're probably way ahead. Single point here, right? No one dead. Let's just get the heck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
point counted, and they knew that if Super Rare and Nova gets out, they knew exactly what they needed for points. So they could possibly be doing that as well. They are obviously playing this, and we are on a 15-minute delay, so they don't have the visibility of the stream where they're able to do this. But obviously, if they have one person on their team kind of counting the points along and keeping track of that, they can have a pretty good idea as to where they're at. So that might be why they sent Super Rare and Nova out, and just maybe want the dominant performance to try to get all 4 of them out of the match. But it's looking like they might just choose to do 3 out, and Otz is going to contest that hook.
Definitely the safe play. That's going to be 2 more escapes coming through from the Shift W Gamers, and now Otz and Brian will spend a moment here together on the Temple of Purgation and, just talk about the weather and the kids. What a nail biter series we've had here between the Shift W Gamers and the Gentlemen. Match 1 of the series, drawn 22 points apiece, a tiebreaker match forced upon these teams, and Shift W Gamers come out strong with a dominant 27 points to 15 over the Gentlemen. They will progress through the winners bracket, with the Gentlemen dropping down into the losers bracket.
I said this earlier, Dowsy, but I really feel like what went wrong for the Gentleman there is just the early pressure from Trickster. He right at the start of the match was instantly on someone within, I don't even know. I'd be curious to know the exact timing on when he found someone, but it was like 10 seconds or something, right? It was just already on someone, and now they're already on the back foot. Whereas you saw where the Gentleman went in, wasn't able to really find people too quickly, whether that's just Shift W playing a little more stealthy and around that. But even then, they still slammed down a generator with Corrupt Intervention up. So they didn't just fully dodge out the Corrupt Intervention. It wasn't in their game plan to just completely hide until Corrupt Intervention was done. Very aggressive on the generators, and it just put them in a much better situation, giving them valuable time on being able to get multiple hooks, as you saw Trickster being able to do so well.
And there we have it. The winners bracket has been completed. Shift W Gamers will progress to join Oracle in round 2 of this winners bracket, taking on them Oracle, who had Shattered Dreams forfeit their match at the beginning of the day due to a player not being able to make it. Agony is going to take on the Invincible Kittens in round 2 of the winners bracket. We're going to give these teams a bit of a break here. Hexy, as they've well and earned it. And we'll be moving over to the losers bracket very shortly to see exactly which one of these teams can survive elimination. Shattered Dreams taking on the Gentlemen, and Team Kanapek taking on Pulse.